Popular Painters and Other Visionaries examines the practices of 35 self-taught and formally trained artists working on the margins of modernism and the mainstream art world throughout the Americas. The exhibition creates new dialogues between US Latino and Latin American artists around the mid-20th century, with an emphasis on the African diaspora in North America, the Caribbean, and South America. Thus, the term popular painters is used here to identify artists who, because of their class or racial backgrounds, have been excluded from so-called official art history and classified by terms such as naive and primitive, labels that the organizers of this project reject as pejorative, prejudiced, and reductive.
Themes of labor, religion, festivities, and architecture, as well as popular visual sources referencing the body, consumption, indigeneity, and syncretism, provide the narrative thread of the exhibition, which is divided into 4 sections. This section is entitled Visible and Invisible, and the works that we see around us particularly deal with spirituality as well as Afro-Atlantic religions such as Voodoo, as practiced in Haiti, Candomblé and Umbanda from Brazil, as well as an artist's own individual spiritual path, as in the Christianity-inflected paintings by Minnie Evans. Some of these works look like paradisical gardens, while others are depicting scenes from religious festivals, as well as objects that actually take on the images of either tools or deities that would be found during a religious rite.
In this room, we have a wall with works by 3 different Black modern painters working both in Brazil, the Caribbean, and the United States. Heitor dos Prazeres, Horace Pippin, and Monsieur Stéphane. What brings them together here, it's a beautiful sense of detail and narrative that the 3 of them carry in their work. External scenes and internal scenes referring both to their social and race backgrounds in dialogue with their own private experiences as artists and workers in the mid-century.
Public-Private is a 2-room section that features artists from across the Americas, ranging from California in the US to Key West, ranging from Honduras to Puerto Rico to Cuba and Nicaragua, and featuring a wide diversity of both urban and rural scenes. Landscape is very central to this section, as well as the man-made interventions that take place. Behind me is a large-scale work by Rafael Moreno, which shows a very idyllic image within Cuba, while on the left of me are a series of landscapes by Acelia Guillen, who was originally trained as an embroiderer, and only in her 70s did she pick up the brush and begin to paint these really beautiful and epic renditions of landscapes. A number of the works, although they are large landscapes, if you look closely, you'll see that there are people who are populating these cities, young boys flying kites, women washing their laundry, people running up and down the hills or the cobblestones.
The works in this section, they represent both animal and human figures in different techniques and styles, but they all have a sense of restlessness and agitated state between them. They cover different techniques, they cover different geographies. So here, for instance, we are in a room where the works by Felipe Jesus Gonçalves is shown together with the work of Gregorio Marsan. Gonçalves was a Cuban-American artist who immigrated from Cuba to the United States in the 20s and who worked in the tobacco industry. So as a cigar roller, he collected a lot of cigar ephemera and paraphernalia. A similar sense of urgency can be found in the works by Gregorio Marzan, an artist very close to El Museo's history. So we see a representation of the Empire State Building in New York, for instance, as well as a big menagerie of animals from different realms that he would create. Finally, we have works by Eloy Blanco, another artist with a long-standing history with El Museo. He had an exhibition here in the 1980s, and Eloy was very notable, very interesting New Yorican artist, born in Puerto Rico, working in New York since the 40s through the 80s. Also, finally in the room, we have 3 paintings by the Amazonian painter Shukuda Silva, who was of indigenous heritage and who represented imaginary animals creating this bestiary. Thank you for joining us today for this walkthrough.
We look forward to seeing you in Las Galerías.